All right, guys, welcome to Today in Pickleball. You've got Scott Golden, my co-host Megan Hall here tonight, and we are doing a post-tournament wrap-up show for the 2021 USA Pickleball National Indoor Tournament. And I was lucky enough to be a part of this 2 years ago, but it was more run from a different perspective. So now the USAPA got involved and they did a pretty fantastic job, in my opinion. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of it and break down everything tonight. But I want to start by saying, Megan, what was your overall experience with the indoor tournament, being that you've never played a tournament indoor on gym floor with the orange onyx ball?
So actually, I have, and we have played a tournament on an indoor gym floor in Myrtle Beach.
That's right.
I was not thrilled with that particular tournament, but however, I was pleasantly surprised with the National Indoor facility at the Finley Center in Hoover, Alabama. They had actually, considering it was on a gym floor, it was really, really nice. Of course, you're going to get a glare and things like that, but overall, I was really impressed with the facility, and we can get into why that is.
Yeah, so let's talk about the venue first. And as we're talking about it for a second, I'll pop this up here. So this was the Finley Center in my hometown area. I'm actually from Helena, Alabama. My whole family is there, but Hoover, Alabama is just about 20 minutes north of where I lived for 20 years. And what did you think about the venue?
I thought it was great. Obviously, it was an indoor facility on a gym floor. The place was huge. There were 26 courts, right? And one championship court. So the championship court was almost, you walk in, it was right there. They had some of the vendor booths as you walked in, and like a little practice court where they had some little clinics for kids. I saw the USA Pickleball working with kids who I think went to summer camp at the Finley Center. So that was really nice to see. And I know they were working hard to just introduce kids to the sport. So that was really fun to watch and to see. What were your thoughts about the venue?
Well, I liked that they had plenty of space for everybody to play. They had 770 participants. So it was quite a few people there at the Finley Center, but luckily that venue itself, like you said, it's like 56,000 square feet. So it's just a huge, huge venue to be able to hold and house a big tournament, which is in fact why they picked that venue. I think there's pros and cons to indoor tournaments versus outdoor tournaments. One of the great things that I really like is that you don't have to worry about weather conditions. So you're basically going to be able to show up. You know you're going to get your money's worth. You're going to get all your games, barring some type of electrical, out, where the power goes out or something. You can pretty much bank on you're going to have a tournament.
And we were lucky this past weekend because it was pouring in Alabama the whole week we were there. So lucky it was an indoor tournament or nobody would have gotten to play. So you're right. That is a good factor. We paid money and we were able to play no matter what the weather conditions. So that is a plus.
Yeah. So the downside to the indoor tournament, though, there's a couple, in my opinion, and everybody's going to have a different viewpoint. Ed Enlika, during his gold medal interview with Melissa McCurley, basically came out and said, like, I love indoor. I love to play on indoor. So, it's not, for me, it's not that I don't like it. It's just that living down in Florida where we live, or other places where you play a lot of outdoor, you get used to the certain ball, the surface. And so it's quite an adjustment. Okay. So my recommendation would be come in a couple of days early. If the tournament starts on Thursday, come in on Monday or Tuesday, get acclimated. Now, I know that that's not possible for everybody. Not everybody can get off work. So if possible, try to come in early.
Or, if you have an indoor facility by where you normally play in your city, in your town, that's always a good way to practice as well for the tournament, finding an indoor gym floor, and you can buy a couple of the balls that they used. It was the Onyx Fuse, correct?
Yes, it was the orange indoor Onyx Fuse.
What do you think about that ball?
So, between the ball, the gym floor, and then the lighting, it can make it pretty tricky to get used to, okay? But after a couple of days, I feel like I've always joked about this. I always say at an indoor tournament, it takes you basically 3 days to get acclimated to it. And by the third day, you're feeling good. And then the tournament's over so that you're going home.
Right.
But no, I listen, my only thing was, this is ironic because at most tournaments, they're giving you the ball that was like first used in 1965 and it's all old and mushy and soft. And you're trying to play this, match with this mush ball, this basically this marshmallow. But it was ironic because at the indoor tournament, they made it a point to bring out brand new orange onyx balls, which I think is great. However, there's a brand new film around it when you first get it. And so what was happening was the ball it was bouncing true, but it was skipping a little bit. And sometimes it would skip and sometimes it wouldn't. And I think that's a testament to some of the surface area was rubbed off with that film and some wasn't. So when it would hit that film, it might bounce one way, and then the next time it might bounce on that part that's rubbed off a little, and it was more true. So my trick of the trade, and I think you would agree that this is a good little
helpful,
I would say pickleball life hack, is find a ball that you can kind of work a little bit, almost like a baseball glove, kind of work the ball around and play with it before you just get out there and play a game, a tournament match. Find one that's been used a little bit, and you'll know the difference because if you put a brand new one, Megan, up next to one that's been used, that film, it's kind of a shiny coating, is gone on one of them, and you'll be able to see that that's the one. And it has a much truer bounce and a much better opportunity to play pickleball in a true fashion.
Right. The ball's not going to skip as much. It was more true to the bounce, and we didn't. There were more balls you can expect. With the shiny ball, man, that ball went super fast when it hit the ground. So it slowed the ball down a little bit and didn't have those off funny bounces.
Right. One other, I don't want to say a knock because it's not necessarily a bad thing, but when you get used to playing at permanent nets and permanent facilities that have permanent nets, you go back and you play with these temporary nets, and there's so many balls that I feel like wouldn't roll over the net and come over to the other side on a permanent net that actually do when you get that little bit of a flimsy temporary net. It's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. But for the players that can do it pretty consistently, I feel like that's a huge advantage. And so I just think that, they did do a pretty good job of the one center court, the championship court. They came in with what I believe was a C&D pickleball net, which is basically a temporary net by terminology, but it's a pretty heavy duty, probably costs around $1,500, retail.
The net is not flimsy. It's firm. It's tight. If you're getting a net cord, it's a truer, more dedicated net feel, definitely than the portable nets.
Yes, absolutely. So, the good news is, not every tournament is going to be played indoor on a gym floor. So, you don't have to worry about that all the time. I will say that, it took me, we got in on Tuesday. It probably took us Tuesday and Wednesday to get acclimated to it a little bit. By Thursday, when I was playing singles, I felt better. And then by Friday and Saturday, it was pretty much a go. One of the other things I really liked what they did with the schedule is that they started it on Thursday, Friday, and then ended it on Saturday. So we could book a flight home on Sunday, get back at a decent hour, have Sunday to pretty much rest and relax, and then, obviously work on Monday. So,
well, I think the con to that is that people often work on Friday. So if you can't get Friday off, then you weren't playing in the men's or the women's brackets. So yes, it was nice to go home early on Sunday. However, they might have left out quite a few players that would have played in an additional event, but they had it on Friday instead. So it worked out for us, but maybe it didn't work out for others. So pros and cons to that format.
Absolutely. Talk about the seating. I was there in 2019. You didn't get to seat in 2019. They had these big, almost grandstands around a couple of the courts that they kind of deemed as the center court. I thought it was a bit much that they didn't fill those seats out hardly ever, even in the gold medal matches. This year they chose to maybe tone it down. It looks like a little bit. They went with some smaller seating, wasn't as gawky and in the way. What were your thoughts on that seating for people?
It seemed perfect. It seemed like the perfect amount of seating. It wasn't too much, but it was filled. There were a lot of people there watching, players and spectators. So yeah, kudos. I thought they I guess the toned down version of the stadium seating was perfect, right? Did you feel the same?
I did, Megan. I felt like they had just the right amount because the spectators were honestly walking around a lot with 26 courts plus the championship court. I mean, not everybody's going to be crowded around that championship court. So it was nice because I think, and anybody that was there will tell you that that facility had a lot of room to walk through. You never felt crowded or too many people were in your way.
Mm-hmm.
Now the courts were a little tight in some areas, not all of them.
I would say that there were many balls on court because they kind of snuck through some of the little cloth that they put between each court. But it wasn't obnoxious. It was fair. It was a fair amount, but I don't think it really disrupted play all that much.
One question for anybody that wasn't there, they have a walking track above, kind of about 10 or 15 feet up with an overhang. It was a little dark under there. Did you have to play any of the games on the end courts on either end?
Yeah, well, we played some rec games, but also I played some bracket play on the outer courts where half the court is well lit and the other half of the court is well lit. So I thought that on the outer courts, it was a little tougher to see. On the inner courts in the center of the facility, including championship court, they were very well lit, easily able to see everything. But if you got stuck on one of those outer courts, which I'm sure every one of us did at some point, did you?
I didn't this year. In 2019,
That's
I did.
He's the golden boy.
Well, I definitely did last year, or the 2019 one. I felt like I was stuck out there on every game.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say one suggestion for the tournament directors, anybody that watches this, maybe get some temporary lighting to put up under there. You can get those temporary lights that are even battery operated or LED or whatever, and maybe put those on the ends of that walking track on both sides so that those end courts don't feel quite as dark on one side. I felt like one side was lit, one side was dark. And so you kind of had the contrasting styles there with that. But other than that, I thought the venue was great.
I did too.
Let's talk about the USAPA staff that was there and the volunteers. What was your perspective of that?
Well, it seemed like they had a lot of volunteers, people who were coming out just to support this particular tournament, the sport. The USA Pickleball, I think, did a good job of getting those volunteers, obviously led by Melissa McCurley and Karen Parrish, and the tournament director being Jarek Rager, correct?
Right, and many others that we probably are going to miss naming, but understand we know it takes a huge amount of effort from everybody involved. For anybody that was a part of it, thank you guys for putting this on, and I know it was months and months of preparation. So we appreciate that for sure. And I thought it showed when the tournament was actually going on, how much effort they actually put into the tournament.
And Melissa was online saying that this is actually history because it was the first indoor national championship that they've put on. So
yes,
very fun to be a part of that. And you know what, for the first one, I mean, they did a really, really nice job. I thought it was professional. Everyone was basically getting out on time. Nothing was really running too late.
Well, that's a testament to Melissa McCurley.
I know, she's a beast.
Yeah, anytime she's a part of a tournament, she's going to have that thing running streamlined. That's one of her specialties, is making sure that the tournament is run on time. And yes, there always are going to be some snafus and some hiccups and bumps, but she just does a fantastic job, I think, of keeping everything running smooth. Let's talk about the one thing we saw in championship court that is different than pretty much anything we've seen other than maybe nationals in 2018 and 19 was the electronic scoreboard that Jarek Rager actually he came up with this. And it's an app where he basically tracks what the score is, who's serving, who's receiving, which game it is. He has all the pertinent information, and they had two big screens up there around center court. So everybody watching, even if you couldn't hear the referee or you were watching from distance, you could see exactly what was going on. What did you think?
I loved it because it was the main court. You wanted to know the score on that main court, and it was right there. It was in this direction. It was in that direction. So I loved having the screen. There.
Yeah, me too. Jared came out with this a couple of years ago and a few years ago. And I remember him using it at one of the indoor tournaments, I think in Tennessee. for the first time. And that was one that I saw how it worked. And I thought, man, that's really neat. I hope that catches on.
Yes.
And it was great to see the USA Pickleball Association kind of embracing what Jarek did. I just think it's a great addition. It's not necessary, but it's a great perk and a great benefit.
Well, how many other tournaments have we been to and we're watching the pros on these championship courts, and as the spectator, you have no idea what the score is if you can't hear the referee. So I thought it was I thought it was a really great addition that maybe some of the other tournaments should look into getting some form of this. However, obviously it was indoor, so it's much easier to have those two big screens at an indoor facility. Outdoor, you never know about weather and things like that. But I'm sure something like that can be tweaked so everyone who is a spectator watching these matches can see the score.
For sure. Let's talk about this being a USA Pickleball fully sanctioned tournament and what that means for somebody that's going to play in a fully sanctioned tournament. Do you want to take that and talk about that?
Well, I think that fully sanctioned tournament, obviously it's the USA Pickleball, so it should be sanctioned. And of course every tournament they put on is sanctioned. So there was basically a ref on every court for the most part. There were a few matches that did not have refs. But I think for the most part, almost all the matches had referees, which I think is important, especially for matches with money on the line. I think it's always, no matter what level, it's important to have refs because people can be crazy and they can cheat and they can make mistakes, as we all do. But when there's money on the line, I think that it's really important to have a referee.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought the refs did a great job. I didn't hear any major complaints. This was actually a picture taken the first day as the opening ceremony kicked off on Singles Day on Thursday. And you can see the refs try to be uniform. They try to be looking sharp and clean and ready to go. I think what I've always said, Megan, is when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you play good or ref good. And that is a direct result of Mark Pfeiffer and Don Stanley and all the leaders who have pushed hard. And we've talked about this before on other live streams. You know, they've made a big push to get those referees moving in the right direction. And really, just like in pickleball, when you try to cut down on your unforced errors, I feel like that's what the referees have been trying to do over the last couple of years. They're trying to minimize those errors. And I didn't see one major catastrophe at all at this tournament with the referees involved.
I didn't either. It seemed to be really smooth. And what I did notice is that they were also training referees at this tournament. So they had some newbie referees helping and just gaining some experience, I think, in some of the matches that were going on this past week in Alabama. So I know they're always looking for refs because there are more and more tournaments coming around all over the country. So super important. So I'm glad they were able to train some refs while putting on this tournament. So
yeah, and if you were there, you saw Mark Pfeiffer walking around with the yellow USA Pickleball shirt on, head of referees, of all referees, whether it be APP, PPA, or the USA Pickleball. He's in charge of that. And I thought he did a great job just walking around monitoring. He was checking on people, checking on the refs. And I think that's important. I think that has some sense of accountability to the referees.
Yeah.
And they know that they're being watched. And I think anytime that you can put a little bit of that accountability on people, they're going to perform a little better. And we saw that. And I think that's a direct result of what Mark and Don have tried to do.
And kudos to Mark for actually taking the time to walk around, because it's one thing to be there and to be behind the scenes, which is fine, but it's another thing to go out, spend your time making sure that things are running smoothly, that there's no hiccups, to be there if something or someone needs you. So I did see him walk around quite a bit as well. And so I think that's a good point, Scott. I really like that.
So I've been to over 100 tournaments in the 5 years that I've been playing, and oftentimes the venues vary from really, really nice, like Indian Wells Tennis Garden, down to some, pretty sketchy locations and all of the stuff in between. So one of the issues is sometimes parking. Even at the US Open in April, I mean, they were busing people from another parking lot. So sometimes that becomes an issue. Megan, was that an issue at the indoor tournament this past weekend?
No, there's plenty of parking. They even on the side had a huge area where you could park your RV. So I know a lot of pickleball players, they have an RV, a camper that they travel around in. And there was a spot literally right next to the Finley Center where you could park and camp out and walk to the Finley Center. I mean, it was within steps. So I thought that was a nice little addition with plenty of parking as well. So the place was huge. And not only the parking, but they also had facilities for children. They had rock walls and splash pads. And my daughter went to that, to this venue in Alabama. She came with me and we didn't even use those facilities, but it was nice to have that there if we wanted to use it. The parking was great, that with that RV set up on the side. And just the facility overall was, I don't think you can get a better indoor facility. I thought it was a 10 out of 10, honestly.
Yeah, there's one other facility in Lake Point. It's called Lake Point. It's in Cartersville, Georgia, where they held the first, I guess, I don't know if this was the first national indoor tournament. The other one was a USAPA sanctioned indoor tournament, but may not be the first national tournament. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it was another large facility and really great for these type of tournaments.
So I want to say also like the best indoor gym facility, because there are lots of other facilities that are indoor that have a hard court, which obviously is much more preferable to the gym floor. But for a gym floor facility, I thought this was a 10 out of 10. Of course, it's not going to be perfect because it's not ideal to play on a gym floor, but overall, I thought it was a great facility.
Definitely. Let's talk food. When you go to a tournament, what are your expectations?
I think that they provide some different types of foods. They had a food court there. They had a little food truck outside that was serving free sweet tea, which is the thing of the South, and free hot chocolate. So I thought that was a nice little touch. But no food trucks. It was just the food court. And there were some food options in the area that were easily accessible. And there's always Uber Eats and things like that. But it's always nice to have some food on the premises, which is the food court. Not the greatest of choices, but good enough. I mean, they had chicken, grilled chicken, chicken tenders, chicken salad.
So I wonder, just thinking out loud right now as you're saying that, I wonder if there was some type of contractual thing where they had to use the food at the venue and couldn't bring food trucks in, because typically you do see food trucks at the tournaments. I'm just wondering if there was something behind the scenes that we didn't maybe know about, that that was one of the things in the agreement, that if they use the Finley Center, people use the food there.
Are food trucks a big thing in Alabama?
I mean, yeah, food trucks are a big thing all over the country, but especially at our tournaments, we're used to getting some different options with food trucks. And I thought the food, I will say I'm not much for spicy. And when I asked for the least spicy, I said most mild. It still felt like my lips were on fire. So I don't know what kind of mild they were using, but
mild.
But I'm also a wimp when it comes to spicy stuff. So I can't claim
other
it.
Things.
Yeah. So ouch. So I can't say too much on that. But I thought the food was good. I thought it was quick and accessible, which is one of the important things. And then they did allow people to bring in their own coolers and little snacks and food. So I don't think they were too strict on that, which was good. That's a bonus.
Yeah, I think they met the expectation overall. I don't think they did everything. I don't think they could have had food trucks. I think they could have done other things, but I thought they met the expectation. It was good enough.
Let's talk vendor booths, because at tournaments, the vendor booths are an important, integral part of a tournament. People want to browse around between games or after they're finished playing, before they get done. Family members come and watch. So what was your thoughts on the vendor booths?
I like the setup. So you walk in to the Finley Center and there's like a little hallway. You went to check in on the right-hand side. If you didn't need to check in and you were just going to walk through, there was another set of double doors, and that's where all the vendors were. So before you even get to the courts, the vendors were right there. I think that's important for vendors. You want to be in a place that's accessible to everyone walking in and walking out. So I thought the setup for vendors were very good. We talked to quite a few vendors there. There was who were some of the vendors that were there?
Oh, I'm afraid to even say because I don't want to leave anybody out. I just remember Acacia. Total Pickleball was there. And honestly, that's the only two that I can remember.
What about the glasses one?
Oh, Raya
Eyewear
was there.
Those guys were very cool. We met them for the first time. Jordan and Chris.
Yeah, some pickup games.
We played pickup games with them.
Yeah, they were very nice.
Medjet.
Okay, Medjet. Karen Parrish would know. Karen Parrish would know all the vendors.
Well, anyway, it was just nicely set up, and they were all right there on the way in and on the way out. So if you're going to be if you're looking vendors or any companies that are in pickleball, if you're looking for tournaments that have good setups that are going to get a lot of traffic by your booths, I think this is a good tournament, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think if you're looking at tournaments next year as a vendor, you should definitely put this on your list. Let's talk about live streaming. Live streaming at tournaments has become a real thing. It's a thing. And so, the USAPA, the USA Pickleball Association, decided to live stream the championship court. They didn't do it all day. They started the live stream at around lunchtime, 12 noon Central. And then they started the broadcast around 2 p.m. Central. What were your thoughts on that? Because there was quite a few matches I felt like that could have been commentated that weren't. Now, I do like that they kind of put an emphasis on the later rounds. I just kind of think that people enjoy listening to the commentary. So,
well, I thought that on Friday, the men's doubles day, they just basically got the finals, the gold medal match on championship court and streamed. Is that right?
Well, they streamed my match that was earlier before it was a medal match, but no commentary. So the commentary started at 2 p.m. So they got the commentary for just the men's gold. And then they went into the commentary for the ladies.
So they were streaming.
They were streaming starting at lunch. So 2 hours prior to the broadcast team.
Okay.
So, and speaking of the broadcast team, we're going to pop these guys up here. This is none other than senior pro Dave Fleming. And new on the scene from broadcasting in pickleball, but not new to the scene in broadcasting in general, is Michelle McMahon. She was teaming up with Dave for the USA Pickleball Championship tournament, the indoor tournament here. What were your thoughts on them? Personally, I thought they did a great job.
I know you thought they did a good job. I just heard for the first time today. I hadn't watched any of the matches. I was there at the tournament with you, obviously, so I didn't get to watch until today, but I thought they did a good job. I thought they complemented one another. I think Dave, like you had said, knows his stuff, knows his pickleball. And I think Michelle was a nice, contributor to that as well. So what do you think in more detail?
Yeah, I mean, look, Dave knows the game as good or better than anybody out there. He is eloquent with his words. He breaks down the game in a way that people can listen and understand. And I think he does a good job of putting a rhythm and a flow to the game as you're watching it unfold. So that's a special talent. I thought he did a great job at that. Michelle is no stranger to the broadcast booth. She's done other college and professional sports like hockey and some other stuff. So I think she's getting into pickleball now. But she does know pickleball. I didn't realize she's been playing for about 2 years is what Karen Parrish said. So I'm actually, I was surprised. I didn't know she'd been playing for that long. So that was good. But they did compliment well. I thought that they weren't overbearing. They weren't too much. They were pretty relaxed, pretty chill.
Well, Dave is pretty calm. And I think Michelle brought a little bit of energy to the broadcast. But again, nothing overwhelming or underwhelming. It was kind of the perfect cup of tea. So
yeah, definitely. The only thing I would maybe suggest for next year is maybe commentate a couple of the matches prior to the gold. But that's it. That's not really a knock. That's just maybe a suggestion for the future. Now we're going to get into the good stuff. This is why a lot of people traveled to come play. And what we've popped up here is basically the schedule for the 5 days, but also they offered $25,000 in cash prize money. That was exciting to hear when we first decided to sign up for this, right, Megan?
Absolutely. When you told me there was $25,000 in prizes and I saw there weren't that many players signed up, I was a little shocked. That's a lot of money on the table. Very impressed with this. Next year, for sure, they're going to get more players to come
if they offer that same
if they offer
amount
that same
or more.
Correct. Yes.
So if you look at it, so let's break it down. It looks like in the they call them open divisions, not pro divisions. Did you notice that?
Correct.
It was men's open division, women's open division, and mixed open division. I think the reason for that is they knew there was going to be some people that weren't pro level that were going to be trying to compete for this prize money. So I think they just left it as an open, which is good. I thought that was a good touch. So for the men's and women's gold medal or first place, you had $2,100 split between two people. So that's pretty fantastic. $1,050 taken home for gold, $1,575 for the second place winners, and $1,050 for third. And then fourth place was $525 split two ways. You happen to have a good run in women's doubles and took home $1,575. What did that feel like for you?
Obviously very happy to place and to come in second, wishing that I came in first and get the gold. But obviously I can't complain. That's an amazing payout for really the bracket. So I was very happy with that. I want to also mention the mix. The mix was actually a little bit less money. It was $1,800 for first, split amongst two people. It was $1,350 for second, $900 for third, and $450 for fourth. So not at all.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning the senior pro open, the senior open divisions, $1,400 for men's and women's.
They actually combine the senior open and the open.
Oh, okay. So they didn't actually pay out the money there. Okay, sorry. They ended up combining because I guess the senior is tough to fill out sometimes. Thank you for clarifying that.
And I think that there were other tournaments going on. So
for sure.
I think, that's why we didn't see a bunch of the seniors come out for this tournament. Otherwise, there'd be no reason not to. Look at the prize money.
Right. And there's a certain number of the pros that refuse to play on indoor gym floor, which you're going to have that. But for the majority of people out there that play tournaments, you're going to go where the money's at,
right,
if you play in that open division. So, but also they chose not to pay out in singles. I played 4.5, 35 plus singles, and I thought I was going to die. It was so brutal. I did actually win the gold, thank goodness, but my body paid for it on Friday and Saturday. But I thought that was a good idea not to pay out in singles. I just felt like the brackets weren't very full and not a lot of people tune in to watch the singles. So I thought it was better that they stacked the money for the doubles.
Definitely. The doubles is always the showstopper for both men's, women's, and mixed. So I think to save the money for those brackets is smart.
Yeah. So as we wrap this up and as we talk about the 2021 national indoor tournament put on by the USA Pickleball Association, would you come back next year?
Absolutely. I wish I got a golden ticket this time around like you did, but there's always next year, so I will be back.
Yeah, and I'm not actually sure if you can donate or transfer a golden ticket in singles, but if anybody out there wants my golden ticket for nationals and singles, I'm happy to give it to you. 4 or 5, 35 plus, you can have it. My body, I don't think can take it. I mean, it's fun in the moment, but I woke up and there were muscles that were sore in my body that I didn't even know I had, Megan. So I would much prefer not to play singles going forward. I can't imagine these pros. They play singles, doubles, mixed doubles, and sometimes the tours throw in like these special events on like a day that they're off and they still participate. It's amazing to me that they do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially the pros that go deep into the brackets and are playing all day for 3 days, all day straight. I mean, it's a lot of pickleball and wear and tear on the body. So maybe not you, Golden Boy.
I don't think I'm cut out for the single stuff. All right, so we're going to do one last thing. We just want to give credit to the open divisions. Of course, there's tons and tons of brackets and divisions. We just can't spend that much time going through every single one. But we did want to highlight the open divisions because that was where the money was paid out. Men's Open division, the gold was taken by Edin Lika and Andre Deescu. And if you don't know who those two guys are, they are 6'5" Romanian built players.
Dwarfs, very small
I've
players.
always said they could double as like UFC fighters if they didn't make it in pickleball or something else. But big men, they took home the gold. For big guys, they really have a lot of touch and finesse.
Yeah, they're incredible players. I don't think it's a shock that they came home with the gold at all. I think when you looked at the bracket, Scott was in that bracket as well. I mean, giving them a run for their money for sure, but I think it was pretty clear that they were the front runners to win the gold for the men's open division.
Yeah, they were the favorite overall, and they did not disappoint. I can tell you that. Second place, or the silver medalists, went to some newcomers 6 months in out of Atlanta, Georgia, Tim Mullane and Illa van Engelin. And that's obviously not an American name. You can know that.
But he was feisty.
He was feisty.
Lefty, feisty. His partner super solid. Both of those players, very, very solid players, only playing 6 months. I think both of them tennis players, college tennis players.
Yeah, actually, I heard on the broadcast because I went back and listened. Tim, I believe, played at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. I think I got this right. Or maybe it was Illa that played at Ohio State. And then Tim played at Arizona. So both guys, D1 college tennis players. It was evident when we played them that they were tennis guys.
Competitors, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then near and dear to our hearts, Gabriel, Tardio, and Max Philippov took bronze. Gabriel's a young, up-and-coming stud who essentially has come out of nowhere, honestly. People don't even know this guy's name yet. He's 15 years old. He's kind of tall and skinny like me, but the dude brings some fire out there on the court.
He's from our area in South Florida. He's super quiet, but a very nice kid. Travels with his father, really just hitting the scene and making big waves. I mean, he is really a fantastic player. So if you have the opportunity to play with him, take that opportunity because you're going to be seeing a lot more of him in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I've actually got him on the calendar to try to play one with him. He's a stud. Okay, so the women's open division, who you happen to be in that division, I don't think it's any shame to say it was a smaller division. So what they chose to do was a round robin games to 15. So if you were watching, it was a little bit different format. But the cool thing was they did a double round robin.
Yeah.
So you got to play against the other 3 teams to 15. And then if you didn't win the first round, you got another crack at them for the second round.
I like that format a lot. I really do. I think I didn't know what they would make the format because there were just a few teams, but I'm glad they did the double to 15. I personally like that. Gives you the opportunity to go back and maybe make some adjustments the second time around.
You were good with the 15 versus the 2 out of 3?
Yeah, I think I like the game to 15. I mean, obviously you have to get into different rhythms playing different teams and players. So maybe that's not ideal, but I always like to regroup after playing someone and just reassess and take a little bit of time to figure it out. It didn't work for the gold, but I still got silver. So let's give kudos to Cassandra Gurkey and Katie Gaines, who got the gold medal. Everyone knows Cassandra Cass. She is a player that plays on tour. She's been playing on tour for years. I think that indoor game suits her. She's very aggressive indoor. She really attacked the ball quite a bit. And Katie was just a solid, steady Eddie player throughout the tournament in the women's division. So kudos to them. Silver is myself and Bobby Oshiro. Also from South Florida. These are the medals, silver medals. These things are heavy and they're big, but they're very nice.
Yeah, very nice medals.
Yeah, so that's that.
And then
add to the collection.
The bronze was?
Bronze is Olivia McMillan and Bobby Pumi. So solid teams all around. Fourth place was A
Anopit and Leslie Bashinsky, who are hometown favorites right there in Alabama. They were the only senior pro team or senior open team to compete against you youngsters. I thought they did great. They actually got a win against Cassandra Gurkey and Katie Gaines. They were the only team to take a win off of them. Correct. Even though they got fourth, I thought that was a pretty big win for them. I think
Absolutely.
going forward, that'll give them some confidence, knowing that they can play with some of these younger players. I know A was dealing with a little bit of a knee, I'll say nuisance. She was still able to play. But let's move on to the mixed open division. You and I were able to team up for this one. We did not get the results that we were hoping for. I'm going to blame it on the wind and the sun. Okay, it was the wind and the sun. No, listen, when you go into a tournament, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. This time we lost.
Go check out my post on the kitchen.
Yeah, Megan made a post about it, and we won't go too much into that right now because, it's a little bit of a sensitive subject, but I guess a hot topic, not a sensitive subject.
For us.
Well, for us, but a lot of people, there's a lot of people that chimed in on your post saying, yeah, it's difficult. And actually one in particular, I don't remember the name of the guy at the moment, but he was talking about how he plays with his brother. And then at the very end, so I was basically like rolling my eyes a little because I was like, well, that's not the same. Playing with your brother or sister or something would be hard, but manageable. But then he was like, now playing with my wife, totally different ball game. So he did touch on that, which I think it's a unique situation when you play with somebody that you care about, or a husband and a wife, significant other. You have to be very careful. Peter Wong, our good friend, uses the term sharp elbows, talking about, maybe wording can be a little harsh or sharp. I think you have to be very careful not to have those sharp elbows out there on the court because things can really go south in a hurry and it can affect the play on the court. And in those games, you don't have time to think too much about stuff. You have to be dialed in. And if you have something that takes your attention, it can really, really affect you. So, and I'm speaking hypothetically here, of course. But anyway, mixed open was Cassandra Gurkey and Jared Smith, which ironically
are an engaged couple.
They play very well together, it looks like, as they took the gold. Now, they do play together when he's not teaching college tennis. So I feel like, even though he may not play a ton of tournaments with her, they do live in the same area up in Missouri, probably play a lot of rec games. So they're pretty comfortable. And Jared's a stud. Let's just be honest. Jared's a stud.
For not playing tournaments half the year or over half the year, he was an excellent, excellent player. So it was the first time I got to see him play. So yeah, congrats to them for taking gold in mix. That was a great win. Definitely.
And then you've got Katie Gaines and Caden Seward, who are also from that Missouri area, that same area. Within an hour of everybody.
And also to be honest, those guys are used to playing indoor. The weather there is terrible for many, many months out of the year. And so when you're used to playing indoor with that particular ball on that particular surface, they absolutely had the advantage. So kudos to them for taking it home and playing well. Katie Gaines, I don't know if you guys have heard of her, but she has been playing a ton of pro tournaments. She is a gamer. She comes to win, and
she's all business.
She's business, and she's out there to slay.
Yeah,
Straight up.
And she is a ball of energy. She never gets tired. She runs back and forth all over the court, front and back, sideline to sideline, and never shows 1 ounce of getting tired.
And we saw her partner, Caden Seward, in Phoenix. I think they played together.
I thought it was Tampa.
Maybe Tampa.
I thought it was Tampa.
And I'll say even from the past couple of months, I think he's improved his game. I think he's refined his game even more. So I can't wait. He's a young guy too. 17, 18 years old.
Yeah,
maybe?
He's probably 18, I think he told me.
So I think that he's someone to look out for too in the years to come, because he'll be a even more seasoned player.
Yeah.
When the years pass. So
sure. And then of course the bronze, Olivia McMillan and John Davison. John was actually on the stream earlier commenting. They play well together. They took the bronze, and congratulations to all these teams.
Another couple making it work.
Just rub it in. No, that's great. Congratulations to them, and they took home 575. Katie and Kaden took home 1575. And
for mixed, it was a little different.
Oh,
for mixed,
I'm sorry.
It was a little less.
You know what? That's why I shouldn't have even mentioned it. We already went over that. Okay, that's why she's here. She keeps me in line. That's right. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap this post-tournament show up Scott Golden, Megan Hall. We're going to be doing shows like this going forward. We're going to try to cover as many as we can with the APP and the PPA. If you just saw the big announcement from the APP, they've come out with 31 tour stops for 2022, and the PPA came out with 20 tour stops for 2022. And so they are paying upwards of $1 million in prize money, both between the both of them. It's over $3 million.
Incredible.
So there's a lot of money getting pumped into these tournaments. But we'll try to do our best. We want to try to do the shows of the ones that were there, right? Because Megan and I had a discussion, and I was thinking, okay, well, we could still do it. We could just get information from people. But I think it's best if we are there at those tournaments so we can give real good insight and feedback.
I want to say, if there's something that you all think that we should touch on or investigate or share with you, or if there's some information that you want us to investigate, we want to know. So leave a comment below, or, just let us know, private message us. But we're going to be doing more of the tournaments, reviews of the tournaments, what you can expect, things like that, as well as some other little hot topics that we come along the way. So
yeah, so definitely get in touch with us. And also, I feel like, we may be looking for some potential sponsors down the road. So if you're interested, if you're a company in pickleball that wants to connect with us and be a part of what we're doing, reach out. We'll be happy to talk to you guys and see if we can make it work. See if it's a good fit. So, all right, guys, we'll see you guys later. Take care. Have a great night. This is Scott Golden and Megan Hall.